Hi everyone, it's Connor here from Durham Hearing Specialists. I hope you're doing well and welcome to a very interesting video today. I'm going to show you a new tool which I've been wanting to use for quite some time. So I'll introduce it in a moment, but first and foremost, what we have here is a very, very dense plug of dead skin occluding this ear, and there's also as the same case on the other side. So I'll use this new tool on each ear. But as you can see, I'm really struggling because it's so dry and crusty. And, you know, I'm trying all the usual techniques here to lift up from the sides and, you know, roll it together like a parcel. I try olive oil, but really I don't really get anywhere. And as you can see, we've got a little bit of movement, but that's about as far as I get. And the problem with this is that normally dead skin plugs like this aren't that much of a problem. As long as it's not full-blown keratosis obturans, then it's not that much of a problem. As long as it's been softened to some degree with olive oil or sodium bicarb, something like that. In this particular case, there's been nothing. So it is, you know, as dry and crusty as you can get it. And the incumbent problem with that is that not only is it adhered to the canal walls, but when you have a rigid steel suction probe, and you're trying to latch onto a very uneven, dry, hard, crusty surface, you tend to not get that seal. So, you know, in these suction videos, whenever I'm approaching, you know, a boulder of wax or soft wax or whatever, we can usually drag it out because a seal is created, like an interface, a coupling is created between the steel suction probe and the wax. So the two surfaces have essentially met and created a lock, an airtight lock, which then allows us to drag it out. And in this particular case, that is just not happening. So what I'm going to show you is what's called a Clearway Suction Handle, or a Clearway Suction Probe. Just trying some olive oil here desperately just to make some progress. But I saw this online. It's made by a company called DTR Medical in the UK, and they make it in the UK. I saw this online, I emailed the company, and they very kindly sent me a free sample to try out. So thank you very much, DTR Medical. But it's a very interesting concept. What it is a normal steel suction probe, but with a very soft silicone tip on the end. Very similar to like the suction cup of an octopus or like an elephant trunk. And the idea behind it is that, well, it's primarily designed to remove foreign bodies from the nose and ear. So this is what we have here. And you can see how the end of it is very soft silicone. And the idea is that as you approach this foreign body, or in this case, you know, plug of dead skin, when you actually activate it by closing the hole, the soft silicone tip will latch on to the surface. And you can see there now it's latched on. And the rubber, you know, the silicone tip will deform around the, you know, the object that you want to pull out. And you can see now, I'm not having to wiggle, I'm not having to, you know, faff around. It is just, I'm literally now just very slowly dragging it. I'm doing it slowly so as we don't cause barotrauma to the eardrum, which I was slightly worried about. Barotrauma meaning trauma created by pressure. So that pulling a very firm occluding plug can obviously pull on the eardrum a little bit, just due to that air pocket between the plug and the eardrum. So you can see here I'm just latching on again. And I'll show you what it looks like after the video, but essentially it has a little hole, it's fenestrated, so it has a hole in the handle, and when you want to increase the suction power, you close the hole with your thumb. But there it is. And you can see here just how the rubber tip is wrapped round that plug of dead skin. So there we go. Ear canal's looking fairly sore, to be expected, and we just have a little bit more debris here to clear. But the principle is very sensible, is very good. You know, it's meant to remove foreign bodies from the nose and ear. So think sort of marbles and things that children would shove up their nose or in their ear. In practice, it's a little large. See these little black specks here? At the time, I was worried that this was a sign of fungal growth. Whenever I see little black specks in the ear, whether it's on wax or in the ear canal, I'm immediately thinking Aspergillus niger, which is a type of fungal infection. But it is only on that little piece of wax, so it's probably just, you know, some kind of foreign body just little specks that are in there. I can't see anything unusual here. So drowning the ear with olive oil and then dragging it out. So this Clearway suction handle is primarily designed to, deform round, difficult to suction objects like marbles, for example, and then you can drag it out. It's a little large, as you can see, but lovely looking eardrum there. We've got some skin adhered to the drum. That's absolutely fine. But as you can see, it also works fairly well, despite being large, it works fairly well with very large plugs of dead skin. And I don't get very many cases at all of foreign bodies and marbles and other things like that. So now in this ear, we have a very similar appearance, very dense plug of dead skin, which is, suspiciously smooth and concave. So I wonder what could have possibly made it smooth and concave like that. But either way, olive oil. Now I have a lot more success with a standard steel suction probe, or Zollner suction probe, or Zoellner suction probe, whatever you want to call it. And what I'm doing here is lifting off the sides. And in fact, to be honest, doing this process first probably makes use of the Clearway suction handle a lot safer. So one of the things that I teach students, and one of the things that I think most people know when they're doing microsuction, is that if somebody has a healed perforation, and that's within, the last few months, if they've had any kind of eardrum perforation, suction can be incredibly dangerous. And the reason is that when you have a plug like this and you're pulling on it, because there's an air pocket, a tiny air pocket between the eardrum and the plug, excuse me, when you're pulling on that plug, that's going to create a little bit of pull on the eardrum. And if you have a perforation which is just about healed, then there's a chance that you could pull on that little area of weakness and reopen the perforation. So, I mean, this person didn't say anything like that at all. They've never had a perforation in their life. But just to explain the principle of opening up the canal first and creating these little gaps where air can flow through, I think that's probably a lot safer and more comfortable for the patient before you use the Clearway. But either way, as you can see, I've had a lot more success here with this dead skin plug. And by the way, the patient, although they didn't mention eardrum perforation, they did mention ear infections, very recent ear infections a couple of months ago in both ears. So I rather suspect that there is a relationship there. And as I've mentioned in other videos, there is a very clear relationship between the titus externa and lots of desquamation or dead skin shedding into the ear canal. Now, at this point, a lot of faffing ensues here because this plug is a very awkward shape and a lot larger than the aperture of the ear canal, which is often the case actually, I find. So, a lot of wiggling around ensues, and I eventually reach for a Cawthorn hook thinking that would save the day, but again, I'm going to have to use the Clearway suction here. So again, we just have, at this point I'm thinking, right, I'll go in with a Cawthorn hook. This plug is probably very dense and very hard, and I'll just drag it out like a hero and save the day. But actually I end up shooting myself in the foot because the plug is not as well formed as I thought, and I end up just creating a bit of a mess here and shooting myself in the foot. So here it sort of looks like the strategy is working, but and I do drag it forwards a little bit, but it's just stuck. It's just completely stuck there, and the Cawthorn hook just kind of drags, smushes through the plug, just like it would if it was really soft wax. So it's very crumbly, as you can see. So one last attempt with the steel Zollner probe, but again, it is well and truly stuck there. I probably could have used a Jobson horn here to drag it out. But at this point I thought, well, I've already used the Clearway once. It's the same patient, so I might as well use it again. And at this point I really didn't want to faff around too long, so olive oil as a last ditch attempt to lubricate the ear canal here. And you can see the center of the plug is actually very dense, and then the outside of it is sort of enveloped in this kind of pearly white matrix. Again, that's a very clear sign of desquamation. So in again with the Clearway, when I clamp down on the hole, that will increase the power, and now I can just drag it out. So, and there we have it. So, lost a little bit of suction there. And now I can finally end the procedure and just drag it out in one. So, a fairly effective tool to have in the arsenal there. Let's go and have a look at the ear canal. Very sore ear canal, fairly inflamed eardrum, but again, to be expected given the amount of pressure and obviously the amount of abrasion during the procedure. So this is the debris that we've removed. Again, good centimetre chunks there. And again, you can see the sort of fresher skin on the outside of the plug there. And this is the Clearway handle. So that's the little fenestration in the handle there. So you would cover that to increase the suction power. And the actual steel portion turns, which I thought was unusual, somewhat annoying, but it allowed me to actually orientate the hole so it was comfortable for me. So, and obviously, as you can see, you know, the soft silicone tip allows you to pick up pretty much anything, even this metal battery. When you let go of the hole, you can just let go of it easily. So there is still some passive suction even if the hole isn't covered. But again, when you close it, that closes the system and allows you to use the full force of the machine which the handle is attached to. So there we go. I thought that was a very interesting tool. Again, it's the first time I've used it. So thank you very much, DTR Medical. The only thing I would say is it could probably be smaller. I would say even if it was 30% smaller, it would be fantastic. It would be very popular, and I would certainly buy a lot of them. So, but other than that, great product, great tool. Thank you very much for watching, liking, and subscribing. If you have any questions, leave them down in the description below, and I will try my very best to get back to you. And of course, I will see you on the next video.